guys, it's Jay from the Tokusatsu. So, let's talk about Kaiju Club. So, if you haven't heard of this, Kaiju Club, it's a new comedy show being produced by Super. Basically, the premise, it's about a bunch of kaiju dorks in the early 70s making a kaiju fan magazine and the shenanigans that are involved in the production of it. The show mostly focuses on a guy named Ryota. He's a 22-year-old college student. Most of the conflict in the show revolves around his attempt to juggle his two main focuses in life, the aforementioned Kaiju Club and his girlfriend Yuriko, as well as his attempts to desperately keep both sides from crossing over and meeting, as he's afraid that if his girlfriend found out that he was a giant Kaiju fanboy, she'd dump him because he's immature, and simultaneously he believes that the Kaiju Club would kick him out because he's focusing more on his girlfriend than Kaiju studying. It's kind of relatable in that aspect, at least for me, I feel. I know a lot of people who are big into, Toku and rather prefer nobody they know in real life found out. The first episode is specifically about them making a issue about the Ultra 7 episode, The Targeted Town. So a good chunk of the episode is devoted to them discussing the themes of the episode, various aspects, the monster, etc., etc. Mostly focusing on how it presented themes of mistrust between humans and society and all that. At the same time, Ryota starts panicking as he finds out that it's his girlfriend's birthday and he struggles to finish his contribution to the magazine and also, take care of her. And ultimately, the episode ends with Ryota realizing that Alien Metron from the Ultraman episode, by the way, he'd been following around the entire episode as an imaginary delusion, who had taught him the value of trusting his friends, as well as him telling Yuriko that even though he's totally blowing her off for the club, he's doing it to stay truthful to himself, and that he wants her to know that it's because the club is important to him, that one day when he's sure he can trust her, he'll tell her about them. It's ultimately really dumb and kind of stupid, but it's a little heartwarming, I guess. He never once thinks to offer, I can just do another time, I'm busy, easily solve the problem, but, I'm expecting that at the end of the show's run, he's going to tell her about the club, and it's going to turn out that either she just doesn't give a shit, or she's also a giant kaiju fan, and it's just going to end up being resolved. It's predictable, it's cliche. So even though I sort of glossed through the episode, because there wasn't really too much to talk about, aside from the club talking about Ultraman, there isn't too much substance in the episode. We get certain introductions. They talk about Ultra 7 for a bit. Ryota meets his girlfriend. We go back to the club discussion. He blows off his girlfriend. The episode ends. That's basically it. Even though I think it was a pretty strong first episode, they managed to set a nice comedic tone without being totally wacky, and as well as being they managed to convey the setting very well, both showing examples and talking about how back in those days they didn't have internet or home video, so if you wanted to recall something or rewatch something, you had to either record the audio only or just remember it from your brain, it's kind of weird to think about, but it's people probably actually did this. I mean, I don't know, I wasn't alive, so probably yeah. Also, the gag about how the monster is just following around Ryota, it's pretty weird, mostly just because outside of a quick scene near the end and a couple of side glances, he never even gets acknowledged. I think it's funny that there's just an Ultraman monster following him around the entire time. From the previews for the next episode, it seems like they're gonna keep this joke going for the rest of the show, so I think that's gonna be good. The cast is all really strong. They provide pretty good performances, but there's barely any focus on anybody that isn't Ryota. Yuriko gets almost as much time, but not too much. I mean, we get to know a decent amount about Ryota. He's a college student, he's kind of a dork, he's a little neurotic. His girlfriend's basically the exact opposite, so she's a good counterbalance to him. Unfortunately, the rest of the Kaiju Club has, basically no personality given or any development thereof. Aside from a quick blurb about their name or occupation, we don't really know too much about them. For example, all we find out in this episode is that their artist, Yusuke, he's got a crush on the waitress at the bar they're hanging out at, and their youngest member, Katsuo, he's basically a kaiju expert, but other than those little tidbits, we learn nothing about the other members. I think it's fine, since it's clear that the focus is going to be more on Ryota and his life, but it would have been nice to get a little bit more. So the show's only set to run 4 episodes, and while I'm only going by my opinion on the first episode, I think that the quality of the show is enough where it could easily go longer than that. I hope the show's successful enough to get a continuation, but I doubt that'll happen anytime soon. But I know I'm going to have fun with the show from here anyways, so I'll highly recommend it. Anyways, if you like it, subscribe, blah blah blah. See you next time. Thanks for watching.